Hey guys, let me just fix that. Yes. What's up, guys? I just wanted to talk about something interesting. Um, by the way, worn out my glasses. I broke them last night. I was being a big dummy. I was being a silly Billy. Broke them last night. Um, happens, right? So yeah, just got a bit of tape on them. I don't know if I'll be able to get a new pair any soon, but hopefully for the several months that I have until I can get a new pair, this is how we'll be rolling. So, I wanted to talk about um, something I noticed recently. So, the thing that I noticed recently is that, and I want to preface this is not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. Just something I've noticed. My opinion on this can be positive, my opinion on it can be negative. Doesn't really, maybe I'll delve further into that later, but it's merely an observation. Okay, I want to get that out of the way. Um, so the observation that I've made that I want to talk about today is that I find it to be very interesting when anime, manga, games, whatever you want to say, works by usually either Japanese or could be Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, Filipino, whatever. Basically Asian, but more specifically East Asian, right? Um, when they take names from non Asian origin, non East Asian origin, I should say. Specifically, I'm talking about Western. And when I say Western, I generally mean Europe. You could say maybe, like Western Asia in some cases, North Africa, but mostly like Europe. But sure, you can also say those other areas. North, like I would also include uh, not only North America, but also South America and the Caribbean, like all of Latin America and the rest of the Americas in that I would also conclude. Some people don't really say Latin Americans Western. A lot of people actually I would say. I kind of consider Latin America to be Western, but that's a different discussion. And of course also you have Australia and New Zealand in that as well. Let's throw South Africa in there as well, why not? So anyway, Western, right? As well as maybe some Pacific Islands. Yeah. Um, Western. Okay, so when they take Western names, or yeah, Western, European, Latino names, whatever, and they sort of they put it into Japanese, or they use it in various Japanese media, but either intentionally or accidentally, they sort of use the name incorrectly, like you could say. So I have a few instances of this that I was thinking of. For example, one of my favorite anime manga, franchises is One Piece. I love One Piece. Read the whole thing. I have a bag over here that I got on Amazon once. It's One Piece. One Piece. It's a One Piece bag. It's got Straw Hat shit on it. I don't think it's official. I think it's bootleg, but whatever. Up there on, I don't know if you could see it. Well, probably not. It's very low quality. But there is an Usopp up there somewhere that a friend gave to me. And I probably have One Piece. Oh, on my door, it's got Monkey D. Luffy on it. I have to put a new one up actually. Uh, I have a bunch of stuff. I love One Piece. One of my favorite anime manga franchises of all time. Right. All right. The thing is that in One Piece they have all of the or most of the names are all rendered in Japanese, right? Uh, you know, Monkey D. Luffy, um, Gold D. Roger, okay, or Gold Roger, as he's sometimes called. Um, Before we find out he's a D holder. Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, right? That's a spoiler, but whatever. Um, Jaguar D. Saul, whatever, right? I'm talking about um I'm talking about um I am talking about basically how should I say this? Uh, the names are always in Japanese order. Monkey being the surname, D being the middle initial, but D has other things about it in One Piece. D or D. I don't know. I don't know how this works reversed. D. Yeah. D. Wait. No. D. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. So, the D, Monkey D. Luffy, right? It's Monkey's the surname, D is the last name, Luffy is the name, right? Luffy is the given name, right? So, and that's with all of them, Monkey D. Dragon, Monkey D. Garp, whatever, right? Like that's how the names are. That's how the names are, right? They're always in Japanese order. So the thing about that is that so we run into some issues, right? Like, for example, one of the characters' names is there's Whitebeard and Blackbeard. Let's take these two characters for example. They're both all they're no, they're not D holders. Only one of them is a D holder. Okay. So Whitebeard's name, the character Whitebeard, his real name is his real name is Edward Newgate. Or no, Newgate. No, yeah, Edward Newgate. Now you'd think, oh, okay, his first name is Edward, his last name is Newgate, right? Edward Newgate. Edward Newgate, right? No. His first name, right? His first name, it's not Edward. His surname is Edward, and his first name is Newgate. So then you're like, wait, his last name is Edward, but his first name is Newgate? Huh? And that's what I thought. I was under the assumption for a long time that his name was Edward Newgate. Edward was the first name, Newgate was the last name. But no. And then there's the same for another character, Marshall D. Teach. Marshall being the surname, D being the the middle initial, Teach being the first name. So I want to say that maybe this is the author Eiichiro Oda, who I love. He's a great mangaka. Don't get me wrong. He's made one of the best stories in my all-time opinion. But I wonder if this is him maybe taking Western names and just putting it in the story and not really taking into consideration how Western names work. Because I'm sure you can find some people in the world who have Edward as a surname. And conversely, maybe there's a few people out in the world who have Newgate as a first name. But it's not the norm, right? If your name has Edward and Newgate in it, I'd say more often than not, Edward would be the given name, Newgate would be the surname, you know, unless or and same with Marshall and Teach, you know. I'm pretty sure Teach, since his name is Teach, I'm pretty sure that's a reference to the real Blackbeard, Edward Teach or Edward Thatch, depending on his name is different depending on what source you're going off of. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a reference to Edward Teach, Edward Thatch, a very famous pirate. You know, the real historical Blackbeard. You know, who this one is likely named after. I think even Oda said Teach is one of his favorite historical pirates. But you know, stuff like that. Like, so I wonder if it's look, it's Bluhoy. Um, we'll leave him right here for the rest of the video. Um, I wonder if it's you know a misunderstanding of Western names, you know, and how they work, and just sort of just dropping them into Japanese. In addition, I'd like to say that, or I'd like to give another example. Another one that is fresh in my mind right now is from the anime and manga series Black Lagoon, because I recently started the OVA series Roberta's Blood Trail, and I will say, love Roberta. One of my favorite characters is Black Lagoon. She's so cool, like she's so freaking awesome, dude. I love Roberta. Latina baddie. No, I'm joking. She's really cool, and in the manga, she's I believe she used to be a Colombian guerrilla, like a guerrilla fighter, a militant, whatever. And then later she joins she becomes the bodyguard slash maid for the Lovelace family, which is one of the in the lore of Black Lagoon is one of the oldest crime families in South America, and they're based in Venezuela. But the odd thing about that is, okay, so they're in Venezuela, which is a Latino country, right? Latin American, right? But their name is Lovelace, and if you look in the etymology of Lovelace, I believe it usually comes out as the origins being British or English. You know, like a origin in like the UK-ish. Maybe it has also a little bit of history in like maybe like other parts of Western Europe, maybe even some German, but the English sort of it has Anglic origins, right? Is what I'm trying to get across, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's their they're a Latino crime family, a Venezuelano crime family, based in Venezuela, obviously, but they have an English surname. That's kind of weird. I wonder if was intentional on part of the author. I don't know the author of Black Lagoon off the top of my head. Or if that was an accident, you know, who can really say for sure, right? But I will say that it could be, you know, on like these things on part of Oda, and actually let me see who the author of Black Lagoon is. Should have had this set up prior, but my bad. Rei Hiroe. So, wait. One second. So, So, in reference to Oda and Hiroe, who are the authors of One Piece and Black Lagoon respectively, I wonder if it's a sort of, because I do know that they have knowledge of other cultures. Black Lagoon is set in Thailand and features people from freaking Japan, Colombia, Venezuela, Thailand, freaking China, Hong Kong, Vietnam, places in the Middle East, America, like I'm pretty sure of the freaking Germans, like I'm pretty sure of the French, Romania, like I'm pretty sure of the Black Lagoon crew. I'm pretty sure, like just off the top of my head, Benny is American, I believe American and Jewish American. Revi is Chinese American. She's Chinese. Her real name is Rebecca Lee. Dutch is also American. He's black. Black is an African American. Um, and Rock is Japanese. Like pretty well. I mean, they're all American. They're all Americans except for Rock, but pretty diverse. And in the show, oh, and then there's Russians too. Can't forget the Russians. The Ruskies. Uh, like I was saying, there's tons of characters from like all different cultures. So I would assume that the what do you call it? The author, Hiroe, um, probably has a pretty good idea of different cultures around the world. And Oda, you know, he pulls fucking inspiration from everywhere. He like just Rosa is Spain, Alabasta is Egypt, and I think a bit of India as well. Although, rather, Dressrosa is mostly Spain with a little bit of Greco-Roman in there. Alabasta is, or Alabasta, whatever the hell however you want to call it, is mostly like Egypt with a little bit of of India in there too. Like there's some bit of both. Freaking Wano is Japan. Well, that's not really that. Okay, that doesn't really work because Oda is Japanese. Let me find a better one. Oh, Amazon Lily is China. For example, there's a bunch of ones. There's a bunch of them. Uh, but they're very. Oh, Water Seven is Italy or Florence, I think, or Venice, whatever. It's like Italian inspired. Stuff like that, right? So, um, it's certainly Oda certainly is a, and there's so much stuff there's so much stuff in One Piece that like characters who have non-Japanese names, like freaking Zoro is not really Japanese. It comes from the swordsman Zoro, even though it's not spelled the same. There's a guy later named Pedro. There's freaking it's another good one. What's another one I can use? Frankie, that's not a Japanese name. Tony Chopper, Nico Robin. These are not, well, Nico, but Robin. These are all Brooke. These are all not Japanese origin names. And there's goes for all of them. So Oda is also one who likes to use names from all across different cultures in his art. And like different just inspirations from world cultures, right? So yeah, basically like what I wanted to get is that I think this is a very interesting phenomenon, but I also think that this is not something that is solely Japanese, And like I said, I don't think it's good or bad. Like personally, maybe I would have named Whitebeard not Edward Newgate, but maybe Newgate Edward if we're working off the Japanese names. And the same with Teach. I would name him Teach Marshall, not Marshall Teach, because it's just weird. But either way, I call them Whitebeard and Blackbeard anyway, or their Japanese names, Kurohige, and I don't remember White. Wait, no, I do know White. It's Would it be hige? Haku hige? Haku? Is it haku white or has? It's whatever. I just call him black. I call him Whitebeard and Blackbeard. Barba Negra, Barba Blanca. If we're working in Espanol, right? Uh, or what would it be in Portuguese? Barba Plata, Barba Negra, Barba Blanca, right? But anyway, I'm working on. I'll just call him Whitebeard and Blackbeard. You pretty much avoid all the issues there, right? And but yeah, oh, also one more thing I want to say about Lovelace is that I have a sort of headcanon that I like to think, because they do explain in the OVA a little bit that the family has its roots in like 15th century Spain. So what I personally like to think is that the family has roots in England, but throughout the years the name has stuck while the family got very Hispanicized. But the name just kind of always stuck around. That's my headcanon personally. But rather than it being named like what, I don't know. How would you even translate the name? What do you want to call it? Let's see. Yeah, you want to call it Amorlace. I will say Lovelace has a better ring to it than Amorlace. I will say,
Amorlace.
Or Amorlace, whatever. Lovelace, Amorlace, whatever, right? I don't really care. But yeah, I like my headcanon is that it just has Anglic roots. Their name just has, for whatever reason, has Anglic roots, but they're still a Hispanic Latino crime family in Venezuela. That's how I feel. But this is not a purely Japanese or East Asian thing. Freaking in freaking America, I'm sure people all the time take Japanese names. Maybe they don't use them correctly. Maybe we misunderstand stuff. It's just how cultures work, Or maybe we do it with Korean names, whatever. Chinese, Vietnamese names, whatever. Southeast Asian names, It is what it is, right? We take stuff, we kind of misunderstand it, or we do understand it, but maybe we don't do it correctly, and it happens, That's cultural diffusion, right? I would say that's like cultural diffusion, So it reminds me of, actually, there's another one. There's this, one of the designers from Metal Gear Solid said that he likes it when this is a video about Jetstream Sam. I'll link it in the comments. It's by the YouTuber Many Not the Bad Guy. But he has a part in there about that. He likes it when stuff from Japanese culture goes to other cultures, and maybe some of it's lost, or not lost but altered. He thinks that's interesting, because I think Jetstream Sam's sword was originally named Marumasa or Masamura, and it got altered to Marumasa or something like that. It was changed. Jetstream Sam is a Brazilian character, by the way. His name is Samuel Rodriguez. But yeah, so this shit goes both ways. Because it's Westerners and misunderstanding Japanese stuff, Japanese misunderstanding Westerners. It happens, But that's cultural diffusion at work. You understand stuff, you don't understand stuff. It happens, I don't think it's a purely good thing or a purely bad thing. I think it's neutral, culturally neutral. I like when people get stuff accurate. I like it when people get stuff accurately, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes you misunderstand something. I was watching a video the other day about the French word vasidas. which is like it's a very obscure word. It's like windows that are like on the top of doors or whatever. So I think this was after the Franco-Prussian War. The Germans occupied Paris, and the German soldiers were in Paris, and I guess they were talking to the French civilians, and they're pointing out those windows, and they're like, "Was ist das?" They're like, "What is that?" And the French people didn't understand that they were saying, "What is that?" They thought they were saying, they thought they were naming those windows like, "Oh, those are was ist das." They thought that was the name of it, but they weren't. So the French word "was ist das," which is for those windows, comes from the German word "what is that?" I forget the type of windows. They're like, I'll link that video in the description as well. It's by a YouTuber I like. Etymology short YouTuber I like. There's two I like. There's Human, I think 1011 or 1012, and Etymology Node. This one's from Human 1011. But yeah, basically, like, this happens all the time. People misunderstanding stuff, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm all for accuracy, but sometimes you misunderstand stuff. And I think that's all I really wanted to say. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. If you know of any examples, drop some in the comments below. Drop some examples in the comments. I'm gonna stop rambling. I probably could have scripted this a little better. I know I got a lot of wells. Working on it, right? There's one right there. That all being said, thanks for watching my video. I hope you all have a great day. I'm gonna head out now. This was Vinny signing off. Bye bye. That's about it. See ya, Jenny.